Hey all, this is Ron Coddington from Military Images here at Arlington National Cemetery. For those of you who tune in to the Military Images page, you know that I come here on a quarterly basis to photograph a grave marker for one of the features, Hallowed Ground, in the magazine. And this beautiful day with the leaves changing is the perfect time to be out here to take a couple of photographs, to reflect, and to pay respect to all of the veterans and family members who are buried on these grounds. So I thought this would be a good time to talk a little bit about the project that I've been involved in. I've come to call it the 114-Day Project, and it is related to Gettysburg. And I thought I would talk a little bit about what this project is and how Military Images is the catalyst for it. Back when I became editor in 2013 and started producing issues in 2014, I had an idea at some point that books could be produced from the material that's donated by all of you collectors and family members and others that share your images. Of course, they're published in the magazine regularly, and if you collect enough material from all those quarterly magazines that are published, eventually you'll have enough material to turn some of the information into a book. And so one of the focuses for me has been Gettysburg. And over the last 7 years since I've been publishing the magazine, we've collected approximately 150 images of participants in the battle. And each of those portraits is accompanied by a caption and sometimes longer stories. There's been a number of you who have contributed, and I'm grateful for your sharing those images to the magazine. So I took all those 150 images, put them on a spreadsheet, and decided which 100 I thought were representative of Civil War portrait photography, the collecting community, and powerful stories about those soldiers and their experiences at Gettysburg. So all of that information boiled down to a selection of 100. And it was really difficult to make the selection of 100 because all 150 pictures and the stories with them are all powerful and they're all impressive. But to get my head around a book, 100 seemed like a good round number. And so 100 it was. Now that I have all the 100 names, you also have to know that as the magazine issues were being published over the years, I saved all of the research. I saved all the emails sent by you that for those of you who did research and sent it to me, I saved every scrap of every bit of that information I saved, and put them in folders on my computer, and then pulled them all out and began to reread the original captions, the original stories. And I should say, I wrote most of those captions originally, but some of you wrote full-length feature stories that we all published. So I read all of that material and began to do a little bit of extra research just to make sure that new information hadn't come out in the last few years. And as you know, letters, journals, newspapers, tons of material that continues to come out online. I wanted to make sure that although I had collected a bunch of information, that I was going to do one final check. So after getting my head around the project, I thought, now that I have all this information and I have the 100 individuals selected for the book, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to re-edit or rewrite one profile each day for 100 days. And then I'm going to tack on 14 more days to write an introduction and do the bibliography. So I stayed true to that. I got up about 5 o'clock every morning for the last 100 days in a row, and wrote and researched for about 3 hours each day, and then off to my regular job, and then in the nighttime working on military images. So it's been a really great ride. I feel like I've been running a marathon. Today is day 107. So there's 7 days left to go. I'm putting the finishing touches on the introduction, and then I'll write the bibliography. So pretty darn close. And my goal is to pretty much finish by Friday so that I can go to the Gettysburg show on Saturday and feel really good about where I landed. And then on Sunday, I'll take a final look before sending it to Kevin Drake at Gettysburg Publishing. The book is going to be published through Kevin, who has been a fantastic colleague and a fantastic publisher, in talking with him through all of, the conversation's been going on for a while. So I'm really thrilled to be so close to being done. And it couldn't have happened without all the collecting community. In fact, the introduction, a big part of the introduction is a history of collecting photographs that goes back to the 1950s and the Centennial Generation. You all have heard me talk about the Centennial Generation before, and that pioneer group of collectors who were inspired by the Centennial and other events going on around that time to realize the value of these portrait photographs. And so here we are, day 107. Although in some ways it's felt like a very lonely effort getting up in the mornings, I know that the larger collecting community, all of you caretakers, all of you keepers of photographs, I pictured you in my mind as I was looking through your photographs and reading through all the research. So although it felt like I was alone, I was very much, I felt surrounded by all of you, and more importantly, surrounded by all of the soldiers that we've written about and discussed in the magazine. Some of them who are buried right here in Section 1 of Arlington Cemetery, which is a place where many of the veterans are buried. And as I look around me at the moment, I see many of the white marble markers that are familiar to most of you. However, in this particular section, since we're at a time in the 1880s, 1890s, there are some very ornate monuments that are mixed into the group here. So it's quite interesting to see all of those, as well as the beauty and the simplicity of the white markers. So that's a little bit about the project, the 114-day Gettysburg project, and where I am. So I have another 7 days to go, and I could probably talk about it all afternoon. I would wind up telling you stories, but we'll save that for the book. And hopefully I can see some of you. I will see some of you at the Gettysburg show on Saturday, and we can catch up in person. If not, I'll see you here on Facebook or on Zoom or some other digital location. So until then, take care of yourselves.